Alright, so I am finally getting around to reviewing in a real-world test setting the Ryobi Expand It attachment system, which is the brush cutter. So you can see it is just the lower piece here, and here it is out of the box. It comes with a blade. I did buy spare blades. I didn't know what this setup was going to be with it. It's got the standard, change it out and quick set. Also of note, you see that little Phillips head down there. I did open that up and put in some of the red grease for that. This is not sharp. I have used this a little bit. I was up the driveway and I was trying to see how big of saplings that I could clear. But it is all blunt ends on it. You can kind of see where the wear is. What happens is if you get a tree that is a little too big for it, it keeps working away at it, and it's really fast. These were maples, so it was kind of burning them. So I'm not gonna show switching it up. I'm gonna switch that out, and I'm gonna tackle some brush that I have in heavy growth that's too big for the string trimmer. The line's just not heavy enough. The stuff is too big, too thick, and it's also longer grasses that traditionally wrap around the head, and you got to keep stopping and pull it out. And that is something I like about this, is the head itself is much more protected. I didn't have anything wrap up in there. It's almost like there's no space for it to. But I'm also going to include in this video testing out the string trimmer, or not string trimmer, a hedge trimmer that I picked up for back when I had the donkeys and I had some softer stuff growing through the fence line. My idea was if I could just go, and hang this down vertically along the fence and just trim the stuff so the donkeys aren't eating it. Now this is an 18 volt. It's a brand new battery I have in here. So this is just going to be an effectiveness, not how long it lasts on the battery. You can get these with a smaller device and a shorter blade as well. But this is the full-size blade on here. And this is just a blade guard for the whole thing. And this is a guide. So if you want to try to aim for a straight line, and this is your guard here that slides off. So let me get this all swapped out, and we'll get to doing some footage to see how it does. Alright, so here we are in the work area. We're going to do, we have a mixed bag of everything. We have some long grasses here, long to the point of falling over. We have dried grasses and grass heads, thick clumps of grass. We have a lot of these twigs here. I don't even know what this is that's growing in. It's not very thick, but it is very woody. Definitely too much for the string trimmer. We have a lot of wild weeds like this. You kind of see how thick the stem gets. Again, more of these sapling type things here. Got some real tall grasses. We have pumpkin vines from the garden up there. We have prickers, raspberry bushes. We have some pretty thick and semi-woody weed bits here. Some more of this. We got some thick patches. Now I'm not going to show clearing the whole thing, but you just want to get an idea how thick all this is. We got a lot of, what is this, pokeweed? Trick cherry. I'm leaving that up for the birds. It's spreading. But I at least want to clear a path all the way down to the side of my chicken coop, because I got some tree cleanup to do down there. So I just really want an area for me to get through, for my dog to get through without getting burrs. This is all goldenrod, all spent out. Here's some more, not just long grass, but I think this is the witch grass. This is the sharp edge stuff here. The string trimmer doesn't like to work on that anyway. So I'm going to try to pick a couple of different things to work on. And mostly it's going to be with the Ryobi brush cutter attachment. But I do want to try on some of the stuff, at least at the top with the hedge trimmer, just to get an idea how that does. So I got the GoPro set up, and we'll start over here and get some footage. Wow, that did really, really quick work. I was hitting, there's rocks in here too. This is very uneven ground. I forgot to mention that. That's part of the reason why I can't use my larger string trimmer on wheels through here. It is rocks and bunches and stumps and all kinds of things. So, all right, I'm gonna keep working. I'll move the camera closer so you can see, but there was nothing. That woody plant went like nothing. So let me get in here a little closer for you. I think we actually got something stuck up in there that time. This is that witch grass. All right, so it does get some, has that chance to get shit wrapped up in there. You can unscrew this blade, so if you really need to, get on there and clean it out more, but that is kind of inconvenient in the field. Yeah, there's more wrapped in there too. But I could hear it change right away. All right, we'll go with that. I'm gonna move on. I'll stay away from the witchgrass. Again, it's kind of your angle of attack too with that stuff. Don't give it a chance. That's why a lot of stuff I'm trying to do a little bit more off the top. It obviously cuts the bottom, but it cuts it straight down. So there was a good example. So that was about, you know, not as big as my pinky, but it just starts digging right into it. There's the cut, but it kind of beats it away until it breaks off. It'll do a little bit of bouncing, but it did take it down. This one's about the same. All right, I like it. And you kind of get an idea, it goes through really quick. You do have to, you know, start with the grasses a little bit at the top to give it some space. But it does cut down deeper into the clumps of grass near the bottom, which I like. You know, some of this stuff was pretty, it gets thick as you get down there. And it just turns to this mash. But it beats it up good. I mean, it throws a lot of stuff around. You're just kind of like pushing stuff out of the way. But I really like that the blade is not sharpened, because I'm dinging stumps, I'm dinging rocks. I'm not worried that it's just going dull. All right, let's give this a try on some of this old goldenrod, see how this works. And some of the other grasses and stuff that are around. Even took that tree down. See, I'll have a little grass over here. Wow. It's actually pretty good. Let's see, here's not quite as big as my pinky. Let's see if we get it down here. Wow. I'd say that actually did it even easier than the brush cutter. So, a lot better than I thought so far. Not bad. All right, so this actually went a lot quicker than I thought. I've been dreading working on this. I don't want to bore you with watching me do the whole thing. You know, I could set up the camera and just do time lapse. But like I said, I'm going to leave that pokeweed up for the birds for the winter. I probably should leave a little bit of the goldenrod. I'm not sure, probably insects and stuff nesting in there. Like I said, my main goal was just to get a clear path down. So that's what I'm going to work on off camera. Both devices really cut down stuff really easy. You know, it looks like there's stuff around, but it's all just cut stuff that somehow I got to rake up or make better. But it cleared this area really nice. And I have to say, I'm pleasantly impressed by the hedge trimmer. You know, it's slower, it's quieter, and it just feels like, you know, almost like a jalopy compared to this thing spinning around, but it's got good bite, and all those blades are nice and sharp. So just getting underneath, even the witch grass and long grass, just getting up and underneath, it's like going to a hair salon and just, you know, running the razor through there, or the electric trimmer. This thing, you know, it's really good. It does beat away at things because it's not sharp, but that is safer in terms of when you're hitting rocks and stuff, you're not, you know, losing your thing. So we are not in the shade here. This was fully charged, and it looks like we're in orange now for that one. So it still takes power. You know, I bet you that string trimmer with one of the 40 volts would really be the tool. How about this one here? This was actually on 3/4 when I started, and we're down to 2. Yeah. So again, the Expand It, it runs pretty good for what you get with the power. But there was nothing I couldn't chew through. I was really impressed that the string trimmer was taking care of these, because it's like a softwood, but it is definitely a tree. You know, I could snap it, but it is obviously way too much for a string trimmer. And that brush cutter head, it still spins, so if you get in too low on your grasses, especially the tougher ones, it will wrap up in there, and it's even less convenient to clean out than the regular string trimmer. So knowing how good this stuff does, I'm going to keep this a lot cleaner come spring so it doesn't get this bad in a lot of areas. But these were my biggest concern. I figured this was what was going to cause trouble, but it wasn't much. Still don't know what that is. The leaves on that one make me think it's some of the aspen, because we do have a lot of that growing and kind of traveling down. I did last year use that hedge trimmer on these, and these are almost like a hollow stalk. They're kind of very wet, but they're big. They're you know, pretty big around. So the teeth on that hedge trimmer find it hard to get purchase on it. So I'm sure the Expand It brush cutter would, you know, plow through that like nothing, like it did here. So overall, if you have any kind of brush like this, you have, you know, a lot of thick weeds, stuff that is too much trouble for your string trimmer. If you have uneven ground where you can't run a bigger roller string trimmer or get in, you know, with a brush hog, of course, you have an area that big, you're not going to be using a battery tool for it. Especially uncertain ground, you got stumps buried around, a lot of rocks, I would pick this up. I don't remember what I paid for it. I got this over a year ago, and it only took me to the spring to get around to use it. But if you have the Expand It tool system and you have any kind of brush that gives the string trimmer trouble, I would pick this up. You know, I was banging and dinging on some rocks and stuff, and you know, the paint scratched. You can feel a little bit of uneven here and there, but there's no metal missing. There's nothing chipped off of here. You know, like I said, it's mostly just the paint missing, but it's a pretty thick piece of metal. And like I said, if it's not going to do something, it just won't do it. There's some saplings, and I may get some footage of that with some small saplings just to give you an idea of that before I finish the video. All right, so here's an example of some hardwoods. This is looks like some birch, and this is almost as thick as my thumb. It's not going to cut that, but these other saplings around it, it probably will. And I also have just up here some young oak that's starting, and it's slowly overgrowing the path. So just going to give you a perspective on how thick this stuff can and can't handle. So with going over and over and over it, this piece here, it did finally work through it. You can see it's starting to burn it. I can smell burning as well. Probably not the best idea to do on a dry autumn day. But it will go through it. It bogs it down. Yeah, I'm sure it's not good for the motor. So you kind of learn what to get to and stay away from. But it is useful when you are trimming and you got a lot of the young little growth like this, that it's like, all right, so I got to go and get the loppers just for these small pieces here. And when they're smaller, they just pop away great. And that would, you know, definitely wrap up your cord on your string trimmer. You know, and again, we just have more of this old growth stuff here. Or not old growth, it's just leftover goldenrod and stuff. It's perfect for that kind of stuff. And down here, these stumps, we had a neighbor with a brush cutter come through, so that's kind of heavier stuff, but it's all sticking up. Alright, so I think I gave a fair idea of what it can and can't do. Definitely don't want to take down saplings that big, but if you can get them when they're a little bit younger and they're starting alongside the path, you know, you can pop them. So yeah, I recommend it. I think it's a little heavier than the string trimmer too, because it's all metal, and the hood is metal too on here. And release it, but this was the main thing. And I think I have an area with some young saplings I can work on to get an idea for that. But for this type of application, absolutely worth it. And hey, if you have hedges, or you know, maybe you don't have the expanded system, this isn't a bad idea either. I don't think this is too expensive because it is one of the 18-volt tools. And it's good for around fence lines too, stuff creeping through fence. All right, so yeah, I think I recommend both of these guys. They have their purposes and they work.